Hi folks, this is Tim of Watchbox. We need to do a quick how-to with the Blancpain Leman Reveil GMT, a dual time that's also an alarm. This is a highly technical watch that can confuse some people, and I would hate for anyone to miss out on the pleasure of ownership because he's a little bit gun-shy about using the complications. Let's go over this watch real quick and how to use it properly. Now, the timepiece is automatic winding, and it's one of the rare alarm watches that is able to automatically wind both its alarm barrel and its mainspring barrel for telling time. So given enough time, it will wind both. However, 3 screw-down crowns allow us to set the functions and wind both power reserves manually if we wish. Now, the first thing you need to note, this screw-down crown at 8 o'clock is your on-off toggle for the alarm. So you have your on-off toggle and you have a display at 12 o'clock that will flick back and forth between alarm inactive and the little bell, which is alarm active. And you can see the striker in motion on the back of the case. You can stop it just like that. Now, of course, it will automatically wind itself up, and you have a power reserve scale at about 10:30 that shows you how much power you have left. Now, when it moves all the way down to 10, it's fully wound. And the crown at 2 o'clock, all of them are screw-down crowns that I have screwed out. But the crown at 2 o'clock can be wound. And you'll note, as you wind it, the power reserve scale starts migrating towards 10. But as I'm doing this, I'm only looking at the power reserve scale for the alarm. That power reserve doesn't give me any clue as to the function of the watch. The watch could actually be sitting dead with no mainspring barrel wind, and this power reserve could be fully topped off. You can see there is a dual transmission mechanism on the case back that I'll try to show you. And you can see the 2 mainspring barrels are winding through the same train with a series of reverser wheels. Approximately 40 turns will wind both the alarm and the mainspring barrel. If you want to be sure, wind it about 45 to 50. It features a bridle style mainspring, so you can't accidentally overwind it. Now, let's say you want to activate your alarm, but it's the wrong time, so you want to set your alarm. Well, there's a crown that you screw out at 4 o'clock, you pull it out, and you turn it in a counterclockwise direction. And you'll note when I turn it clockwise, nothing happens. You only set the alarm via the dial at 3 o'clock by turning in a counterclockwise direction once you've unscrewed this crown and you've pulled it out to a stop. I should mention that the alarm can be set to about 5 minutes. If you're familiar with the mechanism and you get really handy with it, you can set it to about 5 minutes. Don't stress about setting it more precisely than that. This is not a chronograph with which to time the firing of your retro rockets when re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. This is a reliable reminder for meetings and appointments. So you can see I've now migrated all the way around the dial. And once you're done with these crowns, always screw them back in. Now, ultimately, it is also a GMT. It's a dual time. I have my second time zone display right here at 9 o'clock, and I have a crown at 2 o'clock that is going to be unscrewed and pulled back into service. Pull it out to the medium, the intermediate detent, and you can actually move the local hour hand. And the local hour hand can be used to drive the date in both directions as you travel. You can actually drive it in both directions as you cross the international date line. It doesn't stop the chronometric precision of the watch. You can see the seconds hand is still ticking. The minute hand doesn't move. And you'll also note that the reference time zone at 9 o'clock does not change as I'm moving this hour hand, local hour hand, in 1 hour increments. Also, always remember, it's the local hour hand that's cued to the date. The 24-hour zone does not in any way affect the date display. Now let's pull the crown out to a stop. Now you can see the seconds hand stops. You can synchronize this watch to a reference time to the second. It features hacking seconds. And now as I move the crown, you can see everything moves in sync, hours, minutes, and then at half speed, the 24-hour display at 9 o'clock. So this is going to give me everything in sync, moving in sync, when I want to set everything all at once. Again, push that crown back in once you're done with it and screw it down. Remember, the default position for this crown when you pop it out after screwing it out, is winding both the alarm and the automatic system for energizing the barrel for the time. So although the watch can automatically wind both by itself, you should probably manually wind both if you're trying to get the time and the alarm started. It's just good practice and it'll get things done more quickly. Now I should mention that once you've screwed down all these crowns, the watch does have 100-meter water resistance. You want to avoid using any of the functions while the watch is in the water or even just wet. The last thing you want to do is introduce water into the interior of this gorgeous display case back. And you can see right here, Blancpain's manufacturer caliber 1241. Gorgeous in its execution, automatic winding, yes, with about a 40-hour power reserve. So if you are going to put this watch down for a day or so, it may be in your best interests to wind it occasionally, so all of these multiple indications, the date, local time, and second time zone, don't run down. Remember, that power reserve is just for the alarm. You can see and you can purchase this sensational Blancpain Leman Reveil GMT, dual time and an alarm, on our website.